Hello, my name is John Didi, professor of political science at the community colleges of Baltimore County and local political media analyst. Welcome to the Maryland State Politics and Government podcast on Substack. Today, I am talking with candidate for Baltimore County Executive, Kim Stansbury. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Glad to do it. First question is, how's the campaign going?
Campaign is going great. I love all the energy. I love being out meeting people, talking to them, finding out what's good and what's bad going on in Baltimore County, what their concerns are, what their issues are. It's really, revitalizing to just be there with everyone. And I've had great input. Now, I go to all kinds of places. I hit so many meetings. I'm out almost every night of the week, and I've gotten good feedback. So my campaign is going well.
When you're meeting with voters, not necessarily at places where there's a lot of people who agree with you no matter what, but in the grocery store or little community meetings where it's a variety of different people, what is the big issues they're talking about?
Safety. Safety is a huge concern. We just had the incident at Perry Hall High School where the child got stabbed. Parents are worried. They want to know that when they send their children to school, that they are going to be safe. And I can't blame them. Our budget, half of our budget goes to schools. That's taxpayer money. They need to know that we are providing a safe place for their students and a learning environment where they can actually learn.
When you think about public safety, what would you do as far as that to help make things better and respond to those people that really care about that issue?
I would absolutely fully fund the police department, the fire department, EMS, because let's face it, when you are in trouble, you call 911. You don't want to be put on hold. When you have a fire at your house, you want the fire department to show up. That's what you pay your taxes for. And if you are in a situation, a life-threatening situation, you want the police to respond. But we have to give them the equipment that they need. We have to give them the manpower that they need. And we have to support them as a community because they're putting their lives on the line.
When you think about politics in general, you think about the Republican primary for governor. My question is, do you think that'll have an influence as far as voter turnout? And do you have a preference for the various Republican candidates that are announced that they're running?
Oh, there's so many Republican candidates running. Now, I'm concentrating on my race right now. I have my hands full. I figured that the statewide race is going to sort itself out. There will come someone to the float to the top. I have a few that I really like, one in particular. And, he's been around the state. He goes everywhere, meets everybody. And that's kind of like me. I go around, I meet as many people as possible. But I am trying to stay out of the governor's race because what will be, will be. And I'll have to
Makes
get
sense.
along with whoever, wins.
What has surprised you the most during this campaign?
Just people sniping at one another. I mean, just the rhetoric that goes around. And yes, I know that that happens in all campaigns, but there seems to be so much of it. And it's going on a completely personal level. Things that are being said not only about the candidates, but about their families, their children, their spouses. This isn't who we are. As a community, we shouldn't be doing that for, to one another. So that surprised me the most. But what has surprised me the best is how excited people are to be getting new people in office. They really want, there's certainly, it's time for change. It's time to, step into new ideas, fresh faces, and let's get rid of, the old boys network, and let's get some new people in there that can really make a difference.
Clinton was a person who was a chronic campaigner. He just absolutely loved it. And Barney Frank absolutely hated campaigning. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is Clinton and 1 is Barney Frank, where do you fall in the love-hate relationship of campaigning?
I love campaigning. So I would have to be maybe a 9 because there's some aspects of it that I really do not like fundraising. I really don't want to ask people for money, and I try to avoid it at all costs, but I know it's a necessary evil. But being on the campaign trail, it is so exhilarating, to see everybody, to connect with the people in your community. To me, that's just awesome.
I know people who have told me that the number one thing that deters them from running is actually, I got to be on the phone how many hours a week asking people for money, and it's tough. I mean, that's why I think ministers do well campaigning because they ask for money a lot.
Yeah, I do not like asking people for money, and the people that are supporting me right now, they don't have any money. I cherish a $20 donation. Some people give 50, but these small donations are all people have right now. Look, they are, facing high electric bills, high food prices. They have to make choices between food and medicine. They're not in a position right now to be giving large amounts of money, and I understand that. And I can't blame them. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep my campaign, as efficient as possible. So, if I spend money, it's going to be about necessary things. I know how to run a budget, and I know how to run a tight ship. And this is what's needed right now.
You feel there is an endorsement out there that is gettable, which could change the county executive's race, maybe help you, or unfortunately would hurt you.
Um, You know what? I'm just thankful for any endorsements that I get. I don't look at it as helping me or, being against me. I would hope that it would help, but I just like the idea that people will back me, that they will listen to me, that they have trust in me. So, yeah, I'll take any endorsements, that will be great. I love it.
What do you think the role of ICE should be in Baltimore County?
Oh, that is a big question right now. But immigration and ICE, that is primarily a federal responsibility. Now, we did an MOU with the federal government, and that we would, contact ICE if a violent criminal offender is taken into custody for Baltimore County and taken to the detention center, that we would instead, we are getting, by not doing that, it places the community in further harm's way. It's a safety issue. Let's say we pick up a criminal, violent offender and he is detained. Well, we pick up the phone and call ICE. There's a transfer between, law enforcement agencies. It's relatively safe. There's minimal risk. If we do not do that, then they are released and they are back in the communities. Therefore, that detainer does not go away. ICE then has to go into the community. Where are they going to look for them? At their home, their families, their, girlfriends or significant others, or, where they're hanging out. That's right in our communities. Wouldn't it be easier just to have a minimal transfer? This is, about public safety. I want to keep everyone safe, but police should have the authority to cooperate with each other. Can you imagine if they just stood by and let someone get hurt because they were not going to cooperate? We're not children. We have, you know, laws on the books that must be followed. Um, So I'm not going to get into the whole immigration, whether ICE is good or bad, but under federal law, we have to cooperate. By not cooperating, we could lose $500 million of federal funding for Baltimore County. You know, I just have one question. What is going to be cut if we actually lose that funding? We're already in the middle of the 26-27 budget. Do they already know what they're going to let go? I haven't been able to get a honest answer out of anyone in Baltimore County or in Annapolis. But I want to know, are you prepared to cut, funding for programs because you're not going to pick up the phone?
My next question centers on this. What is the biggest, what the hell was I thinking moment for you on the campaign that you said, why did I do that? Or at that moment, what was I thinking?
Um, just getting myself into situations where it's like, okay, I have 3 events in one day. I don't have the energy for that anymore. I mean, I probably could do it in my 20s, 30s, but I'm a little older than that now. I can't be somewhere at 8 o'clock in the morning, then another one at noon, come home, grab a bite to eat, and be somewhere at the night that I don't get home to 1 or 2. It's tiring. Sometimes it's like when you have 2 or 3 days of those in a row, it's like, what was I thinking? Do I have this much energy anymore? But you know what? You dig down deep and you do. You actually get through it.
My last question centers on this. What has been the most joyful moment for you in the campaign that, after that event happened, you had a smile from ear to ear and you were just like, that was just great.
Believe it or not, it was this past weekend. I was asked to help with the Shamrock 5K at Gunpowder State Park. And I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but I was checking people in, giving out T-shirts, handing out the prizes at the end of the race, and to see the smiles on the people's faces as they cross that finish line, that they accomplished something, that this was about what they can do. And people were just so happy. And I'm like, this is the way it should be. You know, this wasn't technically a political because I didn't hand out cards, I didn't campaign, but it was doing something for the community. And I would have done it whether I was campaigning or not. But just to see people having fun, having, having their family close, that's everything to me. This is not about politics for me. It's about making Baltimore County work for families and for taxpayers. You know, I have no desire to go to Annapolis. I have no desire to go to Washington, D.C., but I have a great desire to make life better for the people in my community.
I want to thank you again for your time. I appreciate it a great deal. I want to remind everybody on Tuesday, April 7th at 9:30 in the morning at the community colleges of Baltimore County, Kim and 4 other candidates running for county executive will be there to discuss the various issues facing the county. Thank you again, Kim, and have a great day.
You are so very welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.